hammer or pliers or what. Oh, not too much, just kind of. Okay, as I mentioned, make sure this is seated down inside here properly, and you shouldn't have any trouble sliding this on. Make sure your gasket is in place properly, this black thing around the edge here. Otherwise all your oil is going to come out someday. Alright, so this goes down there. Now, we need to bend these tabs back in. And I'm not sure the best way to do this, but for right now, I'm going to do a couple of them with a hammer. So I should be able to pick this up, turn it on its side, and have better access to the rest of these tabs. I'll probably try and do it with some big pliers. Okay, now that this thing's on its side, I'm going to go around and seal these up. I'm going to tap them with a hammer. And then I'm going to crimp them with vice grips. That should do it. I need to do that all the way around. There's 12 of these. Okay, while doing some of these, I noticed that it works better if you take the vice grips and clamp them down next to the little tab that holds everything together while you're doing your banging. And then when I'm finished with that, I crimp the tab tighter. And then we go on to the next one, do the same thing. As I say, there's 12 of these, so I'll be back shortly. Okay, the tabs are all together. You'll notice now, as you turn this shaft on the end clockwise, this shaft on this end rotates one direction, then the other. That's your agitator working. On the other hand, when you go into spin cycle, this rotates the other direction, and it causes the entire transmission to rotate because it's connected directly to the wash drum. So while I was working on this, I just had it in a bucket with a couple of boards here to keep it. You want it high enough that the bottom doesn't hit the bottom shaft doesn't hit the bottom. Makes things easier to work on. I am now going to put the oil back in it. Okay, the transmission had approximately 1 3/4 cups of oil inside it when I drained it. So I'm putting back approximately 1 3/4 cups. Yours may be different. Check it when you dump it and put back about the same amount that you got out. In order to get this in this little hole here, I've put the gear oil that I want to put in here. Most of this is the stuff that came out. I added a little bit of 90 or 75 W90 just to make up the 1 3/4 cups. This should fit right in this hole, and I can squeeze that in there, and it goes in easy because the air is coming out the other hole. As soon as I empty this container, I will put the 2 bolts back in, and that should take care of it. Then I can put the transmission back in and see what happens. Now, I did not put directions, and I'm not going to put directions how to take the transmission in and out of the washing machine. I'm assuming anybody that's capable of taking this apart and doing this repair that I just did will already know how to do that, or there's probably a video someplace on YouTube telling how to take these transmissions out. The problem with these transmissions is it has these plastic gears in it that have a tendency to go bad, and you cannot buy individual parts. At least I couldn't find them. They want you to replace the whole transmission as one piece for approximately $300. And I'm not the type of person that's going to spend $300 on an old washing machine that is worth a lot less than that. Well, maybe not a lot less, but worth less. You can buy a used washing machine that works on Craigslist for less than $300. So I'm going to try this. This is the first time I've ever done this. It'll either work or it won't work. When I get everything all back together, I'll videotape the machine spinning. That's what it wouldn't do before. It wouldn't spin. It would agitate a little bit, not very well, but it wouldn't spin at all because that gear was just slipping. So that's it for right now. When I get around to it, I'll put this back in the machine and we'll see what happens. Okay, this is after the washer has been repaired and all put back together. I put a small bit of laundry in there just to test it out. In order to make it keep operating, I need to put that in there. And it seems to work just fine on agitate. After it goes through its agitate cycle and goes into the spin cycle, I'll start videotaping again so we can see how the spin cycle works. But so far it looks like it's working very well. Okay, it just went into spin cycle. Seems to start right up. So, anyway, fixing that gear appears to have fixed the problem. That may or may not be your problem, but if you want to go to the trouble to take the transmission apart, check that gear, it's probably worth your while. It doesn't cost anything to fix, just a bit of time.